everyone! Today we're doing a full step-by-step build walkthrough for the ROG Edition 20 PC. We're going through every single component installation in order, so whether you're following along with your own build or just scoping out the process, we've got you covered. There are timestamps in the description to jump to each component. Let's get into it. Before anything goes in, we need to strip the board down first. Start by removing the I/O cover plate. That's the ROG branded panel on the rear I/O area. Then detach the upper decorative cover from the top of the board. Next, remove the Crosshair Edition 20 photo frame sitting above the CPU socket, and then pull off the Crosshair Edition 20 plaque directly below it. Now, see that button with the red arrow indicator? Press that to release the lower M.2 heatsink. There's a second red arrow button as well. Press that one to release the 3DVC M.2 heatsink. Finally, pop off the golden ROG Crosshair Edition 20 logo plate. The board is now stripped and ready to work with. Let's start by installing the CPU. Locate the CPU socket on the motherboard. Press down on the socket lever, nudge it slightly outward, then lift it fully upright to disengage the lock. Flip the CPU load plate open until it stays in the open position on its own. Look at the top left corner of the socket. There's a small triangle marker. You'll also notice alignment notches along the sides of the socket. Those are there to physically prevent incorrect insertion, so pay attention to them. Match the triangle marker on your CPU to the one on the socket. Then lower the CPU straight down. No sliding, no angling, it should just drop in. This is important. Do not touch the contact pads on the underside of the CPU, and absolutely do not touch the pins inside the socket. Any contamination or bent pin here is a very bad day. With the CPU seated, close the load plate, press the lever back down, and hook it under the retention tab. The black plastic socket cover will eject on its own. Hold on to that and store it somewhere safe. Now, let's install the SSD. Find your M.2 slots on the motherboard. Before anything else, peel off the protective film from the thermal pads on the heat sinks. Skipping this is a common mistake that reduces thermal transfer. Check your SSD. Is it single-sided or double-sided? If it's single-sided, you'll need to place a rubber support pad in the designated position to prevent the PCB from flexing under the heatsink pressure. Those pads ship inside the motherboard accessory box. Align the SSD with the M.2 slot, making sure the keying notch lines up correctly. Insert the drive at roughly a 30-degree angle and slide it forward until all the gold contacts are fully engaged. Press the tail of the drive down until it clicks into the retention latch. That click confirms it's locked. Before reinstalling the heatsink, peel the protective film off the heatsink's thermal pad as well. Then seat the heatsink back down. Then, reinstall the lower M.2 heatsink. Set the motherboard aside for now. We're moving to the chassis. Slide the PSU shroud cover on the rear of the case to the release position and remove it. Take off the right side PSU bracket. Then remove the cooling fan bracket on the left side. Now flip the entire chassis so it's lying flat with the front panel face up. This is how we'll be mounting the motherboard. Lower the motherboard onto the front face of the chassis and align all mounting holes with the standoffs. Grab the screws from the bag labeled F in the chassis accessory box. Use a diagonal cross pattern when tightening, alternate corners rather than going around sequentially. Tighten gradually across all screws rather than fully torquing one at a time. Every screw needs to be fully seated. A loose motherboard is a vibration and short circuit risk. Line up the radiator bracket with the screw holes on the radiator itself. Pay close attention to orientation here. The side that interfaces with the chassis needs to face the same direction as the fan cable. Get this wrong, and you'll be disassembling later. Screw the bracket onto the radiator and verify it's fully secured. Loosen and remove the AMD retention brackets from the motherboard. Bring out the Ryujin 360 Edition 20 AIO. Pull the protective cover off the copper pump base, then peel the protective film off the thermal pads on both sides of the block. Align the copper pump block so it registers with the top and left edges of the motherboard socket area. Tighten the screws around the ROG logo on the pump block first. And again, use a diagonal cross pattern. This keeps the clamping force even across the IHS and prevents the block from torquing sideways mid-tighten. Once the pump is secured, grab the VRM mounting screws from the AIO accessory box and install those to lock down the VRM cooling contact. Carefully stand the chassis upright. Remove the top decorative panel from the chassis corner. There are screws holding it and LED cables to disconnect, so be deliberate here. Remove the structural corner piece beneath it. This opens up the routing path for the AIO tubes. Fit the radiator bracket into the slots on the rear of the chassis and slide it to the right to lock it in. Then reinstall the corner piece, reconnect the LED cables, and tighten everything back down. Snap the decorative panel back on. Now secure the radiator to the chassis with its mounting screws. Make sure this is tight. Slide the PSU into the PSU bracket. Use the screws from bag E to fasten the PSU to the bracket. Then align the entire PSU bracket assembly with the chassis mounting holes, seat it into position, and screw it down. Before mounting the fans, confirm two things. Fan connectors are facing upward, and the ROG logo faces outward. Line the fans with the radiator screw holes, fasten them down, and connect the fan cable. Feed all power cables through the chassis from the back. Route the other ends to the PSU and plug them in. Follow the labels on both the cables and the PSU ports. Reinstall the PSU shroud cover and slide it to the locked position. That wraps up all rear side component work. Flip back to the front of the chassis. Loosen the screw on the bottom right of the cable management cover next to the motherboard. Slide it upward and remove it. Now start connecting your power cables and all relevant connectors. Refer to your motherboard, chassis, and PSU manuals for the specific connector locations. There are too many variables here to cover universally. Route the AIO tubes cleanly along the top, then connect all power and I/O extension cables. Once cables are managed, reinstall the upper decorative cover and click the ROG I/O cover plate back into place. Connect any remaining cables at the bottom of the motherboard. Grab the screws from bag H and mount the cross-flow fan from the chassis accessories. Install the slim motherboard I/O frame first. Fit the GPU support holder into the slots on the right side of the chassis. Align it with the mounting holes and screw it down. Note that this bracket slides laterally. Adjust it to match your specific GPU's length before locking it. Install the GPU I/O bracket on the left side. Lay the chassis flat again. Reinstall the cable shroud, sliding it down to align with the chassis holes and secure it. Find the primary PCIe X16 slot on the motherboard. Hold the graphics card vertically and press it firmly and evenly straight into the slot until you feel and hear it seat. Then use screws from bag G to fasten it to the chassis. Plug in the PCIe power connectors, fully seated. No partial connections. Let's install the RAM. Open the retention clips on both sides of the memory slots. Hold each stick by the edges only. Do not contact the gold fingers on the bottom edge. Align the notch on the stick with the key ridge in the slot. Insert the module at a slight angle to get it started. Then press down evenly on both ends until both retention clips snap closed. Repeat for your remaining sticks. If you're running a dual-channel kit with just 2 sticks, install them in slots 2 and 4, not 1 and 2. This is the correct configuration for dual-channel on most AM5 and LGA 1851 boards and will noticeably impact memory performance. For the lower DIMM slots, you have the option to install either the ROG Edition 20 logo plate or the memory QFan module. Align the notch on the screen base with the radiator tubes on the pump head. Keep an eye on the mounting clip on the pump. It needs to properly engage the screen base. Important: do not apply pressure directly to the top surface of the screen. Press from the base only, applying even downward force to seat it onto the pump correctly. Before mounting the GPU screen, peel the plastic protective film off the right side of the graphics card in that area. Pop the magnetic logo badge on. Connect the GPU screen cable. Then, connect the power cord. flip the power switch to on. Congratulations! You have officially completed the build of this absolute masterpiece, the ROG Edition 20 PC. Let's power it up. Did you know the Edition 20 chassis can actually transform into horizontal and angled modes? First, let's check out how to switch from the standard upright tower into horizontal mode. Before we touch anything, make sure to power it down completely. Then, go ahead and remove the pump screen from the front, unplug the OLED cable, take off the memory Q fan module and magnetic logo badge, and pull out the GPU. When taking out the card, remember to flick the release latch to unlock it, and pull it straight out smoothly. Next, grab the protective foam packaging that came in the chassis box, and make sure the grooved side is facing the chassis. Carefully lay the case flat right onto the foam. Now, remove the connecting bracket from the bottom of the chassis along with the support feet on both sides. Reinstall those support feet onto the left and right sides of the chassis instead. Take off the decorative panel, and screw the support feet securely into place. Lift the chassis off the foam and reinstall the removed components. Then screw the decorative plate back on and there you have it. Horizontal mode is officially complete. Now, let's bring the chassis back upright. Go ahead and disassemble that connecting bracket we removed earlier. Then pop off the rubber plugs from the support feet. Next, screw the bracket marked R onto the support foot closest to the fans. Then, take the bracket marked L and screw it onto the support foot near the PSU. And boom! Just like that, you've unlocked the glorious angled mode. Plug it back in, flip the switch, and enjoy your ultimate ROG Edition 20 masterpiece.